How you doing? That's great, man.
Good.
How you doing?
Good.
It's
Good.
warm.
It's warm here in Mississippi. It just got
Mississippi,
just got
sunny
warm.
evening. Yeah. How did this all begin, Adam?
Do you mean why did I when and why did I first?
When is your first recollection of blues music and things like that, or harmonica playing? I don't know how far that goes back.
Well, you know, my father he collected jazz records. So, and he was a painter though. I tell the story. My father was a painter. I have no artistic talent that way, because when I would visit my father in his studio, he wanted to make painting. And I know you guys you're Flemish, so you know the great masters Bruegel. Bruegel, is that right?
Bruegel is good.
Bruegel? Okay, so you know my father was a wonderful painter, but he wanted to keep that his private business, his private preserve. So he pointed my brother and me towards the record collection, and so I grew up listening to records by Bessie Smith, Fletcher Henderson, Louis Armstrong, all of these sort of jazz, a little bit of blues thrown in, and also Bob Dylan. My father had the freewheeling Bob Dylan. He had a wide range of records. And so I grew up with a wide range of music kind of coming at me in the house. He didn't force it on me.
And he wasn't playing any instruments? Or
no, my mom played piano though. My mom played a little Bach on the piano, and a little Mozart maybe.
No blues?
No blues, no. But when I was young, one of the first things I played when I was about 10 is I learned how to play Turkey in the Straw on the piano.
On the piano. You can play?
It sounds like a sort of a fiddle tune almost, doesn't it? Yeah. And I learned that not on the harmonica, but I learned it on the piano.
She told you how to do it?
No, I somehow taught myself. I don't know how I taught myself, but that's all I could play on the piano. And then it was the J. Giles Band. The first real thing that got me into the music was hearing the kids at my school, my high school, listening to a song called Whammer Jammer by the J. Giles Band, and that flipped me out. And I think that's sort of a boogie woogie in its own way. And so I decided I was going to buy a harmonica. I mean, I played a little flutophone, like clarinet. I played clarinet. I never talk about this part of my musical training, but in 3rd or 4th grade I played clarinet briefly. None of it really grabbed me, piano, clarinet. But the harmonica, I said I'm going to go out and buy a harmonica. And I bought one at the same time. And so when I was 16, about 16 and a half is when I started. And I got a little instruction book by Tony Glover called Blues Harp, famous book, published in 1965. Now this was when I was 16, 1974 is when I started playing. And I very early got into, I went to the local mall and got Paul Butterfield, a record by Butterfield. I got some Sonny Terry. I got the Climax Blues Band, little John Mayall. So all of that stuff was kind of in the mix.
Just try to play it by heart?
I tried to copy it. I realized I probably needed several different harmonicas.
So there was no teaching involved?
No teaching whatsoever. I knew nobody who played the harmonica. And then one guy actually early on, just some guy at my school showed me a couple of things. I learned some guitar tricks, and I took a couple of guitar lessons. And my understanding of blues tonality on the harmonica came partly because I was playing blues guitar at the same time. So I was copying B.B. King and Albert King and listening for those pitches and learning them with my fingers. Later,
are you still playing the guitar?
Not much.
Not much. And not in a way on.
But that was my main thing.
Yeah.
In high school, or in college, it was actually more guitar. More guitar. Yeah. Harmonica was a second, but I copied a lot of Butterfield. I still remember playing along with a lot of the Butterfield records. The one he did with the Muddy Waters Woodstock album was very important to me.
And did you start with a band at that time, or played alone?
I played. You know, it's funny. I started in November of 1974. By June of '75, which is about 7 months, I was playing. I had a guitar player and a drummer, and I was playing in my school. 7 months, and I was playing like on the back terrace of the school.
Harmonica or guitar or both?
Harmonica.
Harmonica.
I did play both. I played both, but So I actually...
That was blues.
That was blues.
Yeah.
And I heard B.B. King. I mean, the first real blues players that I heard live was probably B.B. King. And I saw Muddy Waters in a solo gig. Muddy Waters and Mike Bloomfield.
And was there
in
much
New York City.
music available in New York City to
Well, I lived in the
go to
suburbs,
gigs?
so I never saw live blues in the suburbs. But I started to see a little bit of live music.
All right.
I'm trying to think, though, the first really good harmonica player live that I saw. I saw some guys at Columbia University, I guess, when I was a student there. And well, I'm forgetting one key thing. When I was 16 when I was just turned 17, I went to a concert. That was the first and only, and I saw the best. I saw James Cotton opening for the Jay Giles Band.
Great.
And I saw James Cotton do Creeper Creeps again. This is in '75, and Jay Giles Band, when they were, both of them were as good as they ever got. And so when I was at the moment of really loving this music, I saw the very best. Just that one blazing moment.
And that was empowering.
Oh man! I mean, I loved the Creeper Creeps again. I still couldn't
Play it.
believe. I'll play. This is
Play
a
it.
B flat harp. He played on an A, but I'll play. Whatever, and then
Great.
and I learned a lot of that. That big sound just appealed to me very early.
Because I think that's very characteristic for the way that you're playing. You can play a lot of different styles. Looks like you,
Yeah.
maybe that has something to do with your background. It looks like you have a sort of academic approach of blues playing, studying the blues.
Studying, well, if you say academic in terms of studying,
yeah.
yes and no. I mean, Brimling, for example, who really, I remember when Dennis was not very good, but he was determined to get good, and he went and he transcribed every solo by George Harmonica Smith. I still remember that. I was very impressed, because I didn't have that discipline. So for me, the harmonica, actually, it was always for me about releasing energy and about wanting a certain kind of feeling when I played. But I was very focused later on learning some of the techniques, and I did go, and not in a systematic way, but I listened very hard when I got Sonny Boy Williamson, the early trumpet sessions. I should I'll put my glasses down and get out an F harp. It's easier to sort of illustrate these things than it is to
describe them.
If I have an F, I don't know, I have an F somewhere. Here's an F. So the first time I heard Sonny Boy going, that kind of, I thought, wow, I got to get an F harp. Or when I heard the Jay Giles Band early go, what was all the songs that I know on an F harp. That was, I learned early on that was the solo from Pack Fair and Square by the Jay Giles Band. So I learned that when I got Sugar Blue, Sugar Blue, the solo that he does on Pontiac Blues, where he goes, I learned enough of each one that I could that taught me sort of how to expand my own style. But here's the real difference, though. Saxophone players. I listened to a lot of saxophone players, and the kind of riffs that they did struck me as very different. Just give you one example, the kind of riff that a sax player might do. that kind of thing. And I didn't hear harmonica players doing those kind of riffs.
And at that moment, was there someone that teach you some things, or is this really everything that you learned yourself?
No. What happened with me was, we got a lot of insects out here now. Mississippi in the summer. We're liable to get a Luna moth. We get these big green moths sometimes.
Yesterday we had a big cockroach on the hotel room, so we're used to something.
Those happen. Yeah, those happen too. And by the way, Sonny Terry was another player whose stuff I definitely copied early on, but then later when I was living in New York, that country stuff seemed kind of country, and I wanted to be a little more urban. Mostly cross harp, the stuff I copied. I would say I still play 95% cross harp. It's just what I do. But of course with overblows and some of the sax licks thrown in. Nat Riddles. What happened to me was that in 1995, an African-American harp guy in New York named Nat Riddles sort of crossed my path, and that totally transformed my playing. Because until that point, I did a little bit of tongue blocking, but not much, and I didn't even really know how to do that James Cotton stuff. He came along and he said, "You need to listen to John Lee Williamson. You need to listen to Big Walter Horton." And so when I started to do that and get like have a good time, I learned how to tongue block. I don't tongue block everything. In fact, I rarely bend while I'm tongue blocking. But you know, and I copied Have a Good. I did a lot of that kind of stuff. Just
that were things that he
pointed me towards those records. He said, "Get that record. Get John Lee Williamson." But he tongue blocked everything. And I didn't. I would go back and forth. And so I evolved a technique where I would lip purse but sound like I was tongue blocking.
By writing your mouth.
That's all, yeah. And da ta 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 ta. And that's sort of how I evolved my style.
And what is the influence of, well, Satan, Sterling McGee, in that process? Because you played a long time with him.
Yeah. Well, what happened with him was that I tried to take all of that new stuff that Nat Riddles taught me how to play, that he pointed me towards, like the Junior Wells and the Big Walter Horton and the John Lee Williamson. I tried to take it to the street gig that I had in Harlem. And it didn't really quite fit with the stuff that Sterling was doing. And so I had to come up with, because it didn't quite, those Chicago blues licks worked with a Chicago blues rhythm section, but Sterling was coming out of a different tradition. It just wasn't a Chicago blues. He would do shuffles, but they weren't Chicago shuffles. He swung really hard, as I did, but not like a Chicago blues player. And so I had to come out, I just had to kind of forget everything I'd learned and just come up with something new.
And start again.
And start again and learn how to listen to a singer. But mostly what it turned out, what I would do is I would try different things with what Sterling was playing on guitar and what he was doing with percussion. And when I got the right thing, it would feel right, and also people would stop. So we had an audience that instantly kind of gave us a sense, oh, now you guys are really together now. And when we were together, it meant that I had found a harp line that doubled. I'll give you an example of that. What we did on a song like that song Mother Mojo, one of the first songs we played. So I might have played something like. And I would do. You know, and it would be a little bit like Got My Mojo Working, but I would copy the internal guitar lines that he was doing, or I would copy the rhythmic thing he was doing. Not intentionally. I would simply allow myself to feel a line.
And from performing with Sterling McGee to the teaching, because that is something I have to ask you. How do you consider yourself? A performer or a harmonica teacher? Because
both.
I think
both.
I think that both.
I'm definitely both.
Yeah.
I'm
But
definitely
they're
both.
totally different.
They can be totally different. We're certainly all familiar with people who can play really well, but they can't really
Explain it.
describe what they're doing. And we're all familiar with the
Teachers that don't know
harmonica
how to do
teacher
it.
who can't really make the sound, can't really get the right sound. And I think I was lucky enough to have the training and the experience that let me produce a sound that's really my sound. You know.
Tell me about that magic moment. I remember you seeing on the internet on YouTube where you said, I'm tired of the mystifying of playing blues harmonica. I'm going to give it all away. I'm going to tell you all that I know, and I'm going to do it for free on the internet. Tell me about it. What?
Here's what happened. What happened was, just out of curiosity, I didn't know much about YouTube, and I certainly didn't know much about how one would upload a video. But I went to the internet, and I had been in one of John Gindick's harmonica camps in St. Louis with Dennis Grunlin. And so one day I went to this thing called YouTube that I was just discovering in 2007, I think. And I put my own name in it. I was curious, like, is there anything out there? Maybe some Satan and Adam clip or something. And what I found, what came up first, was a clip of me and Dennis Grunling that he had put online, where I think we were like doing a head-to-head battle, and I think he was beating me. And I said, wait a minute. I mean, I love Dennis. Dennis, you know, we're good friends. But I think he knows this story. But I said, wait a minute. So it's like he's controlling my image in a sense because I haven't taken charge of what's out there in terms of what I could be uploading. I had all these old videos of me and Sterling, Satan and Adam gigs. I said, he's, in a funny way, I'm like at the mercy of whatever anybody else wants to upload. And I thought, And then there's a bug, big bug. I put blues harmonica. I put the words blues harmonica, and there weren't that many people doing lessons of any kind at all. There was Ronnie Shellist. He was the big one. Good player. Good player. Good player. And
Powerful player.
Yeah, good player. A good player, but I thought that people deserved more, wider range. I thought I had something to offer that maybe he wasn't offering, and certainly I was surprised. There was no Kim Wilson or even Jason Ritchie or any of those guys, the Rick Estrins of the world. None of them had anything out there. It was really remarkable how little there was. But there were a bunch of people who couldn't play at all going, hey, look, I'm the world's greatest harmonica player. You know, like that. And I thought, wait a minute, that's it? This is this thing called YouTube, and you've got Coltrane and Charlie Parker, and then, you know, I'm the... Look, Ma, no hands. Look at my 3-year-old. And I thought, man, you know, we deserve better than that. And so I made a video of me and my car that you saw, that blue car. And now it's private. I don't play it, but that was the first one I uploaded. And then I thought, why the hell not just like turn on the camera and just play some really intense stuff? And I have no idea what made me do that. It was not a pure motive. There wasn't one motive. It was, I'm going to show off. I'm going to show all that old boys network. I mean, I thought of there's a generation above me, the Kim Wilsons and Rick Estrins and Mark Hummels and sort of older guys, and I thought they had kind of there was one approach to the harmonica, which I've always felt was a little bit more focused on the past, and my approach was more focused on the future.
But you chose to teach.
Yeah.
You could have easily chosen to put your gigs on the internet.
I didn't have any gigs. That's the other thing. I didn't have any gigs. I wasn't playing. So I felt liberated to give it away because I wasn't trying to protect myself. I had zero intention of ever making any money whatsoever on it. I didn't have a reputation. As far as I was concerned, I was a member of this group. I felt like I played good stuff. I felt like I was a good player. But I felt like nobody really knew who we were except a few blues DJs who sort of forgotten us by now. So I thought I had absolutely nothing to lose by going out there and winging it.
Well, you did a great thing for a lot of harmonica players. I'm sure you did.
Well, I uploaded 40 lessons in 40 days. I think that's what did it. And after the first week, I don't know what happened. It's like something caught fire. But the first week I realized, oh my God, I've got people subscribing. And then I thought, I have a public. That was a great thing. It's like I have people. So now what am I going to do? And that's when I started to get really creative. I thought, wow. So I went to that crossroads at midnight, and with a cold, with the flu or something, and so I said, all right, so you want to learn harmonica, this is what you're going to do. You got to go into, and I told people the whole path that I had taken. And once you start that, you start discovering all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, I can just tell some stories. Told a story about the first gig I played in New York City and how Paul Butterfield was sitting there getting drunk at the bar. Mm-hmm. And I thought, that's interesting, tell the stories. And so there's lots of things that came of it. And then what happened is that after about 3 weeks, people said, we want to send you money.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what? I said, well, I better get a post office box. They go, people emailed and said, that's so old-fashioned. So you need PayPal. I thought, here's what I'll do. Let me see if I can find a way of making a website. And I found Mac Website Builder. I can make a free website for 10 days. I thought, okay, this is such a joke. Such a joke. I'll create a website. I'll just put it out there. I'll get an icon from PayPal. Let people donate money for 10 days, and then I'll fold the whole thing. Uh-huh. And I called it Modern Blues Harmonica.
Is the internet thing that you do, do you do all the things yourself? Or do you have
absolutely everything myself. I've never had it. My website, Modern Blues Harmonica, which if you Google the words blues harmonica, is pretty much number one at this point. I had a few webmasters who gave me some advice. But I've done all the work myself. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Maybe an impossible question, but
sure.
I'm going to ask it. You had 130, 140 videos.
146 players.
Videos on the.
Oh, videos. No. Yeah, we have three. I have like 280. Videos.
Oh, Jesus! I missed it.
For I have more than 300, but for lessons probably 230.
Okay. If you should give an advice to a young harmonica player, a European harmonica player that just started to play, what would that be? One thing.
One thing. I can tell you, far and away, there's the two on the most response. Mm-hmm. They're very different lessons. Mm-hmm. The one that's gotten 1,300,000 hits is the one called Blues Harmonica Secrets Revealed, and it has I don't know which number it is, but it has a picture of the inside of a harmonica, and for whatever reason, I think that photo convinced people. It was like I was saying, here's how to make a few quick tweaks. Don't be afraid of the harmonica. You can just, and I sort of took the harmonica and I took it apart. That's why I like the marine bands. You can just
with the nails in it.
I can literally
take it away.
So, okay, so we take this, and you can, if you got a little bit of spit in there, you can take this, put it underneath. You can plink it with a piece of paper. You're going to break a few harmonicas, but I'd show people how to do that, and I think that was very important to people. The idea that you can take control of your instrument, not to be afraid of it, that I can improve it with just a few quick things. The other lesson that I get more email about still is called the North Mississippi Front Porch Blues Harp Lesson. And what I did was just I made up a slow blues that was based sort of on just stuff I had in me, but I talked very quietly, calmly, and I said, here's the kind of song that Nat Riddles used to play for me that always amazed me when he played it, because you can leave a lot of space as long as you know where the beat is. I can play. I can play you a little bit of that. Just to show
why
you.
not?
Want me to do that? Let me. I'll get a B flat harp. So this is sort of what I did.
Something that a lot of people understood and felt that they could do something with less notes and a lot of feeling and
less notes and get the notes that you do play right. And leave space, as opposed to what many players do, which is keep the beat on the harmonica, this sort of chugging, that kind of thing. And I said, there's another way of playing.
I get a thing that we have 1 minute left. I just want to thank you, man, for this opportunity to
Quite-
be here.
you're
To
quite
receive us
welcome.
in our home.
You're quite welcome.
It's been great talking to you, and I hope that you have a lot of success.
Thank you.
And give us some more
Thanks,
YouTube
Lou.
videos and lessons.
I'll do that, and I'm going to come to Belgium too.
You're going to come to Belgium.
Next time I go to Europe, I'm going to make sure
and
I
I'm
come to
gonna
Belgium.
and I'm gonna see that you give lessons in
Okay.
Belgium. Is that okay for
It's
you?
a good deal.
Great.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. But I
Thanks
want to
again.
play for you guys too.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Good.
Thanks.